Good evening, Farmville. The time is currently 6 p.m. and it's time for your local news. I'm Andy Turson.
And I'm Patrick Sanderson. For our first story tonight, in 4 tight races were held for Virginia seats in the House of Representatives. 3 Democrats beat the incumbents in Districts 2, 7, and 10. In District 5, Republican Denver Riggleman received 53.3% of the votes against Democrat Leslie Coburn. Prior to the election, Coburn accused Riggleman of writing Bigfoot erotica and campaigning with white supremacists. Midterm elections were Tuesday, November 6th. Longwood University Student Government Association wanted to make it as easy as possible for its students to vote. Here's Andy Turson about the subject.
I'm reporting outside of Jarman Hall, where SGA's event Ride to the Polls is taking place. Ride to the Polls picks up Longwood University students and takes them to 3 voting locations. I had the opportunity to talk to Emily Moran, and here's what she had to say.
So last year I was the historian, and we kind of last minute were asked if we were doing anything for Ride to the Polls because the faculty weren't going to do anything last year. So very last minute kind of pulled everything together and got it to work, and we realized that this was something that students actually cared about because it was a mid-year thing, so like not a mid-year thing, an election that it was just a gubernatorial election. So most people don't usually vote in those, but we had over 40 students come out last year. So we knew that this was something we wanted to continue, but it wasn't something that the historian position should be doing. So we created a new committee called, I don't know the exact name of the committee, but it is the citizenship type committee, and Mary Zell, as the Virginia 21 rep, is the chair of that committee. So she this year took it upon herself to actually plan it, and there was much better planned, honestly, in my opinion. And she just got volunteers to drive, and she got volunteers to stand at Jarman Loop and kind of be like a line leader. And then you just drive people to the polls all day. It's really important that people actually go out and vote, and we wanted to make it as easy for students as possible.
I also had the opportunity to talk to Mary Zell Galen. Here's what she had to say.
I'm in charge of all things civic engagement. So Ride to the Polls sort of fell under my jurisdiction, for lack of a better word, this year. And it's been a really valuable opportunity at Ride to the Polls to give students the opportunity to vote who might not have the ability to transport themselves to the polls if they don't have a car. Everyone who volunteered on Tuesday seemed very excited about it and just engaged and happy to be helping other Longwood students exercise their civic rights.
I hope everyone took advantage of the opportunity to vote November 6th. This is Andy signing off from COM 355.
Now for sports news, we have Rob Galloway in the studio. Rob?
The much-anticipated men's basketball season is finally here and got underway this past Tuesday in the home opener against Randolph College. Senior forward Isaiah Walton led all scorers with 20 points as the Lancers cruised to an easy win. I'm here in Willett Hall, where just this past Tuesday, the Longwood men's basketball team kicked off their season with a dominating performance over Randolph College with a final score of 84-56. Now the Lancers are excited to start their season off with a win for the first time in several years. But this was also the first win under head coach Griff Aldridge, who was hired just this past spring. I got the chance to sit down with Aldridge and hear his thoughts on the game.
I thought it was a good win. I think we showed some great signs of what we're capable of in the first half. Had some really good stretches defensively, and then also some real flourishes offensively as well. I think I could go down the list, and almost every single player did things that we were excited about.
Now the Longwood men's basketball team hasn't had much success over the past several seasons, but 7 new players on the roster and an almost entirely new coaching staff has apparently instilled a sense of rejuvenation within a program that has already had an early taste of winning. I got a chance to sit down with Cody Anderson after the game to hear his thoughts on the early changes he's seen so far.
I think, fresh start, maybe some rejuvenated excitement. The guys have done a fantastic job buying into what we're trying to do. It's not a comparison to what's been done in the past, but this is what we do now. And the guys, to their credit, have worked their tails off, and they've been coachable, and they've really embraced kind of the mantra and the motto that we've had here of excellence and, being a family.
The Lancers will take their undefeated record up to Richmond to face the Spiders this Friday, November 9th, and look to continue their winning ways. For Com Studios, I'm Rob Galloway. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Rob. In recent weeks, there have been sightings of blood and soil and anti-government posters put up on campus. as well as targeted vandalism on specific organizations. ComStudio reporter Patrick Sanderson spoke to Hispanic and Latino Association President Maria Reynoso and Colonel Bob Beach for more on the ongoing investigation.
In late October, white nationalist posters and vandalism were spotted along campus, inciting President Taylor Reevely to send out an email to campus condemning the acts. I spoke to HLA President Maria Reynoso for more and about her reaction.
First I was confused, but I wanted to give that person or whatever might have happened the benefit of the doubt. And I think a day or two later, I had noticed that they were vandalized again. So then I went upstairs to where I had another poster, and I found that one vandalized too. I reported it to LUPD and I replaced it. It just kind of kept happening, and it just kept happening, and it came to a point where I was at like my 10th poster, and they were just all getting vandalized.
Reynoso said she and a few other people met with President Reevely to discuss the ongoing issue.
Myself and a lot of a few other really great people on campus got together, met with President Reevely, and talked about this, and we kind of explained to him just what was going on, amidst just everything that we have, especially with the building of this building and everything, and we're letting him know hey, things, they're not so great for us right now, and we kind of need your help.
The fact of the matter is that type of incident is not against the law. The attempt to bully or to intimidate people, to cause people to have fear, that goes all the way back to the early 60s and 70s when terrorism first started to raise its head in the world. The real punishment they're going to receive is once they are called out and brought forward, and is the chastisement, if you will, of the community as a whole. At this point, there's no criminal violation involved here, so they won't be arrested. They won't end up going to court.
Reynoso said she's appreciative of the efforts the university has put into the investigation thus far.
I think this is a really great first start. I think this is I really did appreciate him sending that email. Again, admits, being, opening this new building and him having the donors here, and I respected that.
For ComStudios, I'm Patrick Sanderson. Now back to you guys.
Coming up, we feature a new Women and Gender Studies program at Longwood University.
Stay tuned for this and more after the break. The monthly Wednesdays with Women and Gender Studies panel was held last week. For more information on the new program, let's go to reporter Samantha Rinchetti.
Thinking about gender has a stigma to it, and we'd like to see that lessen over time, and for people to think more and more about gender.
I'm here in front of Bedford Hall, where the Wednesdays with Women's and Gender Study program meets every first Wednesday of the month in order to talk about issues that are plaguing women in our society today. In a school where it's 70% female to 40% male, it's important to talk about these issues. I spoke with Professor Chris McGee, co-founder of the organization, in order to find out more.
So there's a lot of opportunities for students to hear from faculty and to hear from fellow students in a variety of situations. This is yet another one, but it's a little more focused on specifically gender as opposed to other issues like race or citizenship or any of those sorts of things. And it's an opportunity for students to speak candidly and openly with faculty about really complicated issues. So we had a recent one on how you write in the voice of other people. Or the one that was yesterday was about involuntarily celibate, sort of a subgroup of mostly white men, and so it's a great series in which faculty get a chance to talk about something controversial and something topical and something that's really related to gender in a way that students might not get otherwise.
I also spoke with past panelist Caitlin Crow in order to see how she feels about the situation.
Participated in a panel for the Women and Gender Studies program a few weeks ago. So the Women and Gender Studies program is really cool. They bring in, on Wednesdays, they'll bring in a speaker or a panel, and they'll talk about issues within the Women and Gender Studies field. So the panel that I participated in, we talked about writing the other. So we talked about writing, I talked about sexuality. A girl next to me, Bridget, she talked about writing disabilities. This man, Joel, he talked about writing race. So it was really cool because we got to discuss how we write the other within our own writing, and then we opened it up for discussion. And so that's a big part of the program is that we open it up for other people to talk about things. That way they can like learn more about it, and if they have questions, they can ask questions and people will answer and stuff like that.
Thanks, guys. This is Samantha Rinchetti, Com 355, signing off.
Thanks, Samantha. In Northern California, terrifying flames and heavy smoke filled the town of Paradise, where almost 30,000 people were forced to evacuate at a moment's notice. That fire is now the most destructive in California history, destroying nearly 6,700 buildings since it started Thursday. High winds and extremely dry weather in the state of California put 25 million people under red flag warning. In Los Angeles, more than 170,000 people were forced to evacuate their homes.
That wraps it up for your 6 o'clock news.
For Patrick Sanderson and everyone here in Farmville Studio, thank you for watching Com 355 News. I'm Andy Turson.
Andy and I will be back at 11 p.m. and our morning anchors, Matt Carpenter and TJ Wenger, will have you covered starting at 4 a.m. Good night.